Tom Bezell asks, could you share some times in which you have seen the light bulb switch on for a progressive when they realized they were wrong? What was that you said, and can that process be repeated? The most dramatic example of that, I've talked about it a couple times before, is not something I saw firsthand, but was told to me by somebody who watched it happen. And it was probably a black American in his 40s, probably went to this party and didn't realize that virtually everybody there was Republicans. And when he found out that almost everyone around him was there, he basically stood up and said, I'm leaving. I'm not going to be seen in the company of all these racist Republicans. To which some person said, okay, yeah, it's fine. But Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, and Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. And this guy turned around to him and spat it out. He said, he was not. Yeah, he was. He was not. There's no way. Abraham Lincoln was not a Republican. Now we live in the world of these things, you know. So people say just, hey, don't take my word for it. Just look it up. Just look it up. Okay, I will. So he did. And then he was gobsmacked, thunderstruck. He was speechless because he looked, and then he did a couple more places, and he realized that Lincoln was a Republican. And they said you could see the gears turning as his entire world came apart. And somebody said, and so was Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass said the Republican Party is the rock anchor of the black. And the guy said, look, please just stop. I'm not. I can't take any more than this right now. I gotta sit and think about this. So it happens. I've had a number of people. It's been a great honor and certainly a real pleasure of mine to have a number of people say to me, either in person or through social media, that something I said or a couple of videos I did changed their mind about things, made them more conservative. That's a very, very, very humbling and extremely flattering thing to hear. But I don't know that I've seen anybody just have the light bulb go off. There's one other person who I got to know well and who I admired, who was a big old liberal, and she told a mutual friend that she, of all the videos I've done, it was just almost like a throwaway line. It was about my trip to Guantanamo Bay, and I was talking about how big that the Straits of Florida, 90 miles of open ocean, is gigantic. I said, there's never ever been one raft that went from America to Cuba to get the free health care. Hundreds of thousands of people have risked their lives, and many have lost their lives to come here. And she said, I started thinking about that sentence, and I could not find a way around it. And so she started questioning everything. And it can happen. We got another, I think we have 4 or 5 segments of the interview with Chadwick Moore. If you saw that, it's really good. If you didn't, it's on the website. Chadwick Moore was I made the mistake of saying editor-in-chief. He was editor-at-large for 2 of the most well-read gay magazines in the world. These are Harvard-level bona fides for a progressive, and he was a gigantic progressive. And he said he started to hate the left. He didn't like the intolerance. He didn't like the attitude. Didn't like the people. And the only thing he knew was that Republicans were worse. That's all he'd ever been taught. And somehow, somewhere, he started listening, and he found out that it was not true. He basically wrote an article, and all of his progressive friends, people he'd known for most of his life, basically he never heard from them again. He got a bunch of death threats from the left. He was called a self-hating gay. I'm sure they didn't use that word. And they said he was doing it for the money or for the attention. His response was, I had the money and the attention. Doing this has cost me the money and the attention. Social suicide was a term he used. I'd never heard it before. It's a great term. And then he went on to say that of all the things, we talked about this last week, of all the things that the left had done and all of these horrible, real genuine cruelty towards him for having switched sides, he said the nastiest thing that anyone ever said to him from the conservative side was he got an email from a guy who said, "Dear Mr. Moore, just wanted you to know I'm pretty much the exact opposite of you. I'm a devout Christian. Got a cattle ranch in Texas. I'm heavily armed, and I don't approve of your lifestyle one bit. But I wanted you to know wanted to just say welcome to the party, and I love you." He said that was the worst thing he heard from the conservatives. And I've heard that kind of story from so many gay people, so many black people, so many Hispanics, so many professional women who, when I say professional women, I don't mean women who are out there working I'm talking about people who were feminists. They were professional women's rights advocates, and they just said, we just realized it was just a lie, which is why you cannot speak the truth out there, which is why they will not listen to you. I used to do colleges. I've done colleges for quite a few years, and there was a time when you would walk into a room, a hostile room, but people would listen, and after it was over, they'd get into a discussion, and you'd get people thinking about things. But now, you walk in there, and people just start screaming at the top of their lungs. They can have that. They can have it. You want it, if it's that important to you to be that stupid, then I'm not the kind of guy to take away something as precious to you as your own ignorance is. So, there you go.